so fantastic to be here with you. I love the feeling I have sharing MMF with, okay, that's nice, not so I can wander just about to here, right?
You can go further.
It's so fantastic to know that what started out as something that was a bit of a fluke, and I'll explain that in a moment, has turned into something that's changed so many lives, starting with my own. And here's what I have to say about that. We've just heard some pretty amazing testimonials, and they're all true. But I don't think any of those testimonials would have happened had a couple of crazy things not happened first. Here's what I mean. I was attending a meeting in this was November 2012 in Salt Lake City. I was invited with my friend at the time, now business partner, Dave Melka, and others, to listen to a presentation about some really cool products that had been developed, and they were just looking for somebody with the wherewithal to bring to market. And I'm watching this presentation as this really compelling former Pfizer rep, now president of this amazing company, is reaching into his attaché bag, they're putting out on this beautiful table at the Grand America Hotel these really neat products about, this is fantastic, and we have all this data about how this will protect your DNA from ionizing radiation, and this one does great things for hearing. And this one, and I'm watching this presentation, going, wow, that's pretty cool stuff. And you know how, as eyes do, they wander, mine do anyway. Stop. And I'm just watching his hand, just kind of grab the different things, these bottles he's putting out on the table, kind of like a kid at Christmas, like what is he going to pull out of the stocking next? And as he reached in, I saw him kind of move around, and I see most of you I know have seen the original folding blister cards, the legacy MMF blister cards. Thank you. And I saw just the top portion where I could make out the word military. Now that's intriguing, military. And these were used, by the way, the one I saw. And so when I thought it was appropriate, I asked, what's that? And some of you have read that in the start. And that's all true. And I asked him, what is that? And he was kind of offended, of course, because I was looking at his bag. But he eventually said, well, that's something we did for the military. I said, wow, that's cool. What are you going to tell me about? He said, nothing. That's not, we're not here to talk about that. I said, that's something we did for the military, and only the military. But look at all this other great stuff. And I'm sure you've all done this to your children. When you tell them what they can't have, what do they want the most? I'm still a child right here. And so I wanted that the most. At least I wanted to know about it the most. And I said, I really want to know what that is, please. And he said, okay, I'll tell you. After September 11th, Marine Corps Systems Command contacted us and they said, we need something that will elevate the health of our Marines, airmen, sailors, and soldiers to a state of peak health and keep it there under battlefield conditions. Because here's what we know about what they're likely to encounter. They're going to go over to what we colloquially call the sandbox, and they're going to encounter ionizing radiation, super high levels of oxidative stress, inflammation and pain associated therewith, and a whole list of other nasty stuff that we know will eventually land them at the VA. So how do we prevent that? So when we got that call, that question, it was followed up with really the most important question, and that is, can you do something about it? And of course our answer was, well, of course we can. That's our specialty. As it so happens that we have medical doctors, PhDs, research scientists, and a whole host of other really smart people who've been researching this for a very long time. So yeah, we can figure that out for you. So we figured it out for them, and that's what's in my bag. And that's why you can't have it. I thought, you've got to be kidding me, right? After that story, you're going to tell me I can't have it. What I was able, though, to get was a box. One box of those, 450 of those blister cards I just showed you. Some of which I shared with him. That's what he was telling me about 6 months later. But before I shared it with him, I thought, okay, I'm no Marine, airman, sailor, or soldier. I'm just a me. But I'll bet if this stuff works for a me, it'll work for others. And if it works for others, then maybe I found something really cool to occupy my time with. Like convincing the DOD that they should let me have that. Because of all that influence I exert over them, right? And so, I start taking it. But not just I gave it to my wife. And my 3 children. And what I saw in my home is why we're here today. Because my 3 very special children all benefited in ways that I'll want to share with you someday. But I will tell you that their very unique conditions have all been benefited in ways that have stunned their teachers and everybody in their lives, including my wife and me. And then my wife decides to become a long-distance runner after 40 some odd years. And then I find out, discover, realize, perhaps is probably the best term, that I didn't have pneumonia. Wow, it's my pneumonia season because it's Friday. And I thought, oh, and I don't have bronchitis either because yesterday was Thursday. That was my life for 20 years. I don't have a spleen. I'm immune compromised. So I lived for 2 decades with bronchitis, sinus infections, pneumonia, the sniffles, the coughs, the funk, everything that children bring home from school, right? I got to live with all of that. Plus all the cool stuff I used to get just in life. 2 decades of that. A couple months into MMF, I realized I am not sick. Whoa, that's pretty groovy. I'm not sick. I'm not sick. And that's when it dawned on me. Whatever it takes, whatever it takes, MMF will no longer be the exclusive purview of Marines, airmen, sailors, and soldiers, but will become available to everybody like me, which is everybody else in this country and the other 7 billion people we share this round thing with. 2 years later, here we are today, listening to testimonials of people like me, people like my wife, people like my children, who have had their lives changed in ways that was previously not thought possible with a natural oral preparation. And we are seeing things happen for and to the human body previously not thought possible at all. And so the question for me with this group really becomes, how important is it for us to experience those benefits of MMF? I mean, really, truly experience those benefits. I've come to a few realizations as I've been working on bringing MMF to you and the rest of the good people in this country. Here's one of those realizations. And you're going to say, duh. None of us gets out of this alive. And I didn't like thinking about that until I realized this. Really, this whole experience we're having is about the quality of this existence, isn't it? It's about the quality of this existence. So how then do we enhance the quality of this existence? And that's when I had the other realization that Art just shared. That's why I want to do this. Now it makes perfect sense. I had come full circle for me. And I'm hoping that by you involving yourself with us, by experiencing MMF yourself, and then by sharing it with the other good people who also deserve to experience the same things, you too will have an experience like me. One of those V8 moments where you go, oh yeah, now it all makes perfect sense. We're not meant to be sick. Whether you believe we live in this thing because it was created or because it evolved doesn't matter. What does matter is there's this irrefutable truth. We got to take care of this thing. And the way we take care of this thing is recognizing it for what it is. It's a chemical reactor that takes fuel in, that creates energy, that animates it. And if we get that chemical imbalance wrong, if we somehow upset that chemical balance, our life is different. MMF, as much as anything else, helps us establish that balance in our life. And who of us is not seeking balance in just about every facet of our lives? MMF does something, as I mentioned earlier, not previously thought possible. But so too, think of this. I shared this with you a moment ago, but I'm going to present it in a slightly different way as a question. Did you, prior to coming here tonight, or prior to having been invited into the Engage family, had you any idea that Marine Corps Systems Command cared two hoots about the health of the soldiers, such that, had you any idea that Marine Corps Systems Command, through the whole DoD mechanism, had initiated the creation of something that would elevate the health of our Marines, airmen, sailors, and soldiers and keep their health there regardless of battlefield conditions? Did you have any idea? I didn't think it even possible, especially in today's world. There's a first time for everything. What is your first time going to be when you have that moment that makes everything congeal, everything make perfect sense to you, and you say, Engage is the perfect vehicle. MMF makes perfect sense. Did you know, roughly 85% of us are already spending money on some form of dietary supplement? And not one of them was created as MMF was created. Here's what I mean by that. I've sat in boardrooms, as many of you have. I've sat in boardrooms where the chairman or whoever was running the company or running that board meeting at the time said, I think I've picked up on a trend. We need to create a product to maximize the company's profits as we ride that trend. Every single product, think about it for a moment. Every single product you've ever seen in tablet form, every dietary supplement in existence was created for one reason: to make somebody some money. Do you disagree with that? They were all created for a commercial purpose. Now, why was MMF created? Why was MMF created? For one very different purpose, right? Now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. Why is MMF so different? Even its genesis is 180 degrees different from everything else we've come to know about dietary supplementation. Everything about what MMF is different than everything we've come to understand about dietary supplementation. MMF is a perfect micronutrient formulation using natural biologic isoforms. Now, those are words that mean very little to most people because no one has ever used them before. Why? Because nobody understood their value before. Why? Because it never occurred to any business ever in the history of ever to spend $25 million to make one dietary supplement to help a handful of people. It would never occur to any company to do that. For the very simple reason that it's not economically viable. It doesn't make financial sense. As I was talking with, it came time to make more MMF, as we were running out, when I called the packager, I shared this with some of you, we called the original packager and said, time for more. They chuckled. And I first thought maybe something was wrong with the line. Did I really hear a chuckle? Yeah, I heard a chuckle. I said, pardon me? I said I want to order a whole bunch more. We need to make more of these. And he said, you're not from around here, are you? Was essentially his response. I said, no, but I'm part of the whole family, and I'm in the whole thing here now, so it's okay. You can make it for me now. And he said, no, that's not really it. The issue is, do you have any idea how we made that package? Do you have any idea how expensive that product is? I said, yeah, I do have an idea. He said, no, I don't think you do. The machine alone to make the package for this is more expensive than any dietary supplement on the shelf. Just the package. And I asked why. And he explained why, and I went, whoa, okay, that makes perfect sense. That's a very expensive package. And then it occurred to me, another aha moment. The only organization on the face of this earth willing to spend that kind of money on something that would never be sold for $1 is the United States government. Right? Did you ever think that you'd be sitting in a room saying, thank heavens for politics and sequester because I now have MMF? You never occurred to me. Yet here we are. And because of those very realistic realities, we have the opportunity to change our own lives, reset our DNA, strip all that funk off of our genetic code, called your epigenome, unravel a lifetime of tangling up our bodies in knots, usually, in fact, I'll say for this crowd, 100% unintentionally, but nonetheless done. We have a real opportunity. This isn't super juice, this isn't hype, this isn't craziness. This is a real opportunity to effect true repair. This is a true opportunity to live the life you were destined, created, or evolved to live. This is your opportunity to be the healthiest version of you that you can be. This is your opportunity to experience what it must feel like to be a Navy SEAL right here. Okay? I'm not going to look like one. I'm not going to act like one. I'm not going to be one. But I'll tell you what, I should feel like one. Why? Because of this. That's why we're here. That's why Jeff and Helen have committed their lives to traveling this country sharing MMF with everybody they run into. This is why you've committed an hour of your time to be here listening to me. I'm just me, but you came anyway because of the power of MMF, because of the power of what Engage will do for you. Let me express something. This is, I think, probably the most important of all. Most of us don't want to believe that there can be something not right happening inside of us. None of us wants to even think for a second that maybe, God forbid, there might be something in stage 1 or stage 2 or stage 3 or worse. None of us wants to even think of such a thing. Yet, for every 3 of you ladies, 2 of you will have that reality. Guys, every other one of us will have that reality. Unless we can do the opposite. And unless we can affect stage 1 repair, stage 2 repair, stage 3 repair, stage 4 repair, so that we can become the healthiest version of we that we can be. That is the proposition we are offering for you. That is what Engage stands for. Engage Global is about abundance in life. Creating abundance. What comes to mind when you hear that word abundance? What would you feel like if you had an abundantly healthy life? What would your lifestyle be like if you had abundant finances? That's what Engage Global stands for. Our tagline is FISH. It's an acronym, F-I-S-H. Freedom, Integrity, Service, and Health. And it's only FISH because IFISH isn't a word because we wanted integrity to come first. But that doesn't make any sense because we live in America and we speak English. So we had to go with FISH. But I'll tell you, integrity is only second because of the language we speak, not because of the import we assign it. Please know that above all else, we are absolutely committed to doing the right thing. And we believe, here and here, we believe that the right thing for America right now is MMF. The right thing for America right now is to detach ourselves from that crazy whirlwind that's happening out there in New York and in plugging ourselves right in, squarely in between supply and demand of something that actually matters, like our health. That's what we are offering. If you have any interest at all in knowing what that feels like, if you have any interest at all in experiencing that for yourself, if you have any interest at all in watching your children and grandchildren go through the positive changes I watched my children go through, then you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family, you owe it to the people you care about, you owe it to the people around you to know what MMF is. And it can start tonight. We have product here tonight. We can use this amazing little machine here that can make you a member today. And we can make you part of the Engage family tonight if you're interested.